evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alvin Tafoya, and I'm joined by my colleagues today to discuss some foreclosure documents that you'll probably, if you're receiving documents in the mail, it's really important that you want to take a look at those. Make sure that you're going to look at, the authenticity of those documents, that they're coming directly from the clerk and recorder's office. My colleague John Davies will talk about that. Charlotte O'Donnell will also be talking about documents and things that you may see as well. And these documents are super important. They have important information on there. They're written in legal language sometimes, so they can be a little bit confusing. And so hence the reason why we wanted to have this town hall to educate our community, let them know, about these documents, about the foreclosure process, but more importantly, about the partnership that we have with the clerk and recorder's office and all of our HUD certified colleagues who can help you with your foreclosure process, be it due to lack of mortgage payments, rental, my apologies, haven't paid your property taxes or things like that. And so, let's go ahead and proceed with this evening's presentation. Paul Lopez, the clerk and recorder, the clerk is unable this evening. He is attending a national conference for the clerk and recorders. And so I've been asked to sit in and help moderate. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'd first like John Davies to introduce himself, his title, and what he does for the city and county of Denver. And then John will pass it on to Charlotte, and Charlotte will pass it on to our other colleague, Veronica, and we'll wrap it up. And we're asking if you have questions to go ahead and type them in, and we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. Thank you for joining us this evening. Go ahead, John.
All right, thanks, Alvin. So as Alvin said, my name is John Davies, and I'm the Chief Deputy Public Trustee here in Denver County. I'm a part of the Clerk and Recorder's Office, and my division deals primarily with the administration of foreclosures. So as part of the administration of foreclosures, we do send out a few documents along the way, and we've also created some that we keep here in our office, and we have them online as well. Next slide, please. So those documents are designed to explain your rights in foreclosure, give you an avenue for exercising those rights. And they also let you know where in the foreclosure process you are and give you some good information about the foreclosure process as it applies directly to you. So during the foreclosure, you're probably going to receive a lot of mail from a lot of different sources. In order to make sure that you're opening the mail from our office, I would just want to hold this up to the camera here if it'll work. Yeah, there we go. All of our mail has a seal right here in the corner. Then that's our clerk and recorder office seal. So if you see a document come through with that seal in the mail, please be sure to open that document, even if it's addressed to somebody else, or I guess not to somebody else, but to occupant or tenant or something along those lines, because that mail is going to be important to you. It's going to have that information we were just talking about. I will say that sometimes those documents we send out, we don't have a lot of control over the format of those documents. It's all laid out in state law for us. So they can be kind of difficult to understand. So if you do open one of these pieces of mail and you're looking at this document and you can't make heads or tails of it, feel free to call us with any questions. Just reach out. Our number's there on the screen. You can also get us at foreclosures@denvergov.org. And you can also come into our office. We're here 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And we're at 201 West Colfax Avenue, and we're on the first floor. Next slide, please. So the documents that our office provides, there's basically 3 of them. The first one we're going to talk about is the combined notice. The second one is the intent to cure form. And the third one is the excess funds claim form, which allows you to access funds if there's any left over from our auction after the sale happens. We're also going to touch on a couple of other documents that our office doesn't provide, but they are part of the statutory foreclosure process. So I wanted to make sure you knew about them. And those are the Rule 120 hearing notice and a notice that the lender is required to give you, that's notice of the foreclosure proceedings. Next slide. So what do you need to know about the combined notice? So first off, you need to know it's going to be mailed to the property and everybody else on the mailing list twice during the foreclosure process. Once at the very beginning, when we first get our file, the first thing we do just about is send one of these notices out. And then we're going to mail it again 60 days before the auction takes place. And it's also to the same list of people. Now we get that list from the lender, they provide it to us, and they're required to make sure that they put the address of the foreclosed property on there addressed to occupant, which is why I was saying earlier, even if you get a piece of mail and it looks like it's probably trash because it says occupant on it, but it's got that seal from the clerk and recorder's office, still please go ahead and open that. That's important mail for you. And the other things that the combined notice contains inside the envelope is a flyer listing some helpful agencies who may be able to provide you with some help, be that legal or counseling or whatnot. And it also has a copy of the state statutes that pertain to you. Next slide, please. So we also, in addition to mailing that document out, we also publish it in a newspaper. If you get the Wall Street Journal in your area, you'll see that being published there. That is a statutory requirement. I know a lot of people would like to not have their business published in the newspaper. Unfortunately, we just don't have any control over that. But we do publish in the Wall Street Journal because it gives us a broad audience. It's inexpensive and those costs are passed on to the homeowner. So we try and reduce those costs. And it also allows us to have an efficient partner to publish with because they're a well-oiled machine over there since they publish across the country. Next slide. So what the combined notice contains that's pertinent to you is it has the sale date, time, and location of the sale, which you'll need to know if you're trying to figure out how can I get out of foreclosure and what's the deadline for that. Once the sale happens, at that point, you won't have an ability to get yourself out of that foreclosure anymore. So that's kind of your deadline. And the time and location, if you wanted to come to the auction, if you won the lottery the day before the auction and you just wanted to buy your house back at the auction, you could do that as well. It also contains information about which lien is being foreclosed on, which is important if you have like a first and a second mortgage. This document will tell you which of those is being foreclosed on. And like I said earlier, there's a copy of the pertinent statutes, and there's also that flyer with agencies who may be able to provide you some assistance. Next slide. So this is the actual combined notice document. This is what you'll see. I've whited out some of the information on here, so we weren't looking at an individual's business, but basically it says on here towards the top what day the foreclosure started. And then that big block of, it looks like a table, is all the information about the lien being foreclosed upon. It's got how much the principal amount was, what reception number it was recorded at with the clerk and recorder's office, who was involved in that transaction. And then a little bit below that, there's a section that I've whited out, but it has the property address, so you know which address is being foreclosed on as well. And then below that, there's a section called Notice of Sale. This is where you see a big block of text, but you do want to read through that because it does tell you when and where the foreclosure is going to take place. In this particular case, it says 10 a.m. on April 29th, 2021. And all of our auctions are online now. So the location is that web address that you see there. Right below that is the first and last publication dates and the publisher. And I explained we use the Wall Street Journal. And right below that is our notice of rights. And this is kind of a summary of the various rights that people have in foreclosure. The ones that pertain to you are the intent to cure rights. Those are the first two bullet points there. And that last bullet point, it also pertains to you. The third bullet point is actually for other lien holders on the property. And then right below that, there's some contact information for the Office of the Attorney General and the Federal Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. And that's in case you wanted to contact those people, see if the Attorney General wanted to take up your case or make a complaint to the CFPB. You're welcome to do those things as well, and we provide the contact information for you. Next document, please. So this is what the statutes look like when you receive them in the mail. And as you can see, it's pretty intimidating to try and read through that. So I just wanted to give some quick highlights about what you're seeing here. So the first statute is basically, it's just saying, if you're going to make a payment to the public trustee, like you're going to cure your default, you have to do it using a cashier's check or wire in the funds. That's what it says. You don't really have to read through the rest of that. The next one, the combined notice publication and providing information, it describes what's in that combined notice document and when you would receive it. And we've already talked about those two things. So continuing to scroll down here, the next statute is about your right to cure. And basically, we'll get into that a little bit more during the presentation, but it just talks about how you have a right to cure until the sale, basically. And that just means that it's your opportunity to pay what's owed on your property and get yourself back out of foreclosure. If you can keep scrolling down, I think the next page is probably all that same statute about curing. There we go. It's also, this statute right here is about redemption, and that doesn't affect you. You can skip that one completely. That's for other lien holders. And then there are a couple of others right here that talk about the single point of contact and dual tracking prohibited. Those are things that affect you, and they're complex. So if you want to know more about those, please give our office a call. It's kind of outside of the scope of today's presentation, but I'd be happy to talk to you about them. And I believe that's the end of the statutes there. All right, so next slide, please. So for the intent to cure document, we have that here in our office. We can provide you a copy if you want to walk in and fill it out here. We can certainly do that. We also provide it on our website. And if you just need a copy and you're not in town and you don't have access to the internet, just give us a call or give us an email address and we can send you a copy as well. And what it does is it provides a way for you to exercise your cure rights as they're provided in statute. You just saw that statute was like 2 pages long. We'll talk a little bit about what those rights are on the next slide. But I did want to just point out, it does need to be filed no later than 15 days prior to the sale. It actually, if it's closer to the sale than that, you can file it with us anyway. We'll accept it and we'll try and get you the information, but the lender's not legally obligated to respond at that point. I would say they often do though, so it's worth doing. Even if you're less than 15 days from the sale, go ahead and file it anyway if you would like to do that. And then the other thing I wanted to say about it is that you can file it more than once. So if you file an intent to cure form 90 days out from the sale and you can't make the payment once you've seen the dollar amount, but you want to try again, just give us a call and say, I filed this. I'd like you to request a new statement. We already have it on, excuse me, on our files, and we can just get back in touch with the attorney and get a new statement for you. Next slide. So what it does is it allows our office to contact your lender and get a statement of the amount necessary for the filing party, you, to bring the loan back to current. And it tells us and it tells you how much that amount is and when it's due by. Now, there's no fee for filing an intent to cure with our office, but I do want to tell you it's possible that the lender or their attorney, in making the statement that they have to send to us, could charge a fee on their side. Next slide, please. So once we've received your intent to cure and we've passed that on to the lender, now they're required to respond back to us. And they respond back to us by sending us a statement of how much it's going to cost and the deadline by which to pay, which we're going to send directly to you within about 10 minutes of our getting it. If you do make a payment to us, we will immediately notify the lender, and we will also immediately stop the foreclosure process. Now, this is important because you can also work directly with your lender, but we, the public trustee, don't always know that that's happening, and we can't guarantee the foreclosure process will stop when you're doing that. So if you make a payment directly to our office, the foreclosure process immediately stops that moment. Next slide, please. So this is the intent to cure document that we've created. The top section there is it's basically the legalese notice, but it's saying you would like us to go obtain a statement from your lender. The middle section, it's the instructions to the public trustee. It gives us some information about which foreclosure we're looking at, and it also tells us what to do if you want us to send it to a different party than yourself, if a cure payment's made and there's a refund, who you'd like that to go to as well. And then the last little section there is for a notary. Now, if you come into our office and fill out this form in front of us, it does not need to be notarized. We can verify you are who you say you are right there in the office. But if you do take this form, print it out and fill it out, not here in the office, it will have to be notarized. And that's just so that we know it's not somebody trying to gain more information about your property than they should have. Next slide. So the last document that our office provides is this excess funds claim form. And basically what happens is when we sell a property at auction, especially in our current market, it often goes for more than the loan that's being foreclosed on is worth. And that excess is used to pay off any other lien holders who have a claim on those funds. But once those are all paid off, if there are any remaining funds are owed to the borrower. And so this excess funds claim form allows our office to, actually allows the borrower to make a claim with our office on those funds. And it allows us to verify that the person claiming the funds is actually who it's owed to. Next slide, please. If we don't receive a claim on those funds within about 6 months of the foreclosure sale, the statute requires that we turn those funds over to the state treasurer's Great Colorado Payback Program. Now, they're not gone. They're now just with the state treasurer, but you can make a claim with them, I believe, anytime. I don't even think there's a deadline on that. It could be 20 years later. So, but if you are looking for those funds, it's been 10 or 12 months and you call our office, it's likely we're not going to have them because we'll have transferred them over to the state treasurer. But we can get you the state treasurer's information as well. And I also wanted to tell you, we don't charge a fee for our excess funds claim process. So if you are pretty sure you have some funds that belong to you that we're holding, just give us a call. We'll let you know if that's actually the case, and we'll walk you through the claim process as best we can. And there's no fee for doing that. Next slide, please. So this is the document right here. It's actually a 2-page document. This first page is what you will fill out, and it helps us know what the property is and which funds you're claiming. And the second page is a little bit more complex, and it talks about what additional information you have to provide to our office to prove that you have a claim on those funds. And so just walking through it really quick, if you're a homeowner and you're collecting in person, all you're going to need is a state issued ID and 3 of the 6 things from that purple box down at the bottom. Now, if you're out of state, you're going to need a little more information. If you bought the house with your spouse and then got divorced, there may be a separate claim for each party. So that's got a little bit more involved information there too. And also, if the homeowner purchased the property and then passed away and a personal representative is trying to make the claim, there's a little bit more they have to do as well. So all of that is on here. If you're making a claim and you're reading through this, you're trying to understand it and you don't know exactly what to do, just give us a call or send us an email and get in touch with us, and we will be happy to walk you through that as best we can. Next slide, please. So the two other documents we talked about at the beginning that our office doesn't generate is the Rule 120 hearing notice, and that's generated by the court system. And what that does is it's a notice to you that there's a Rule 120 hearing for your foreclosure case. But what they do is they provide you this notice, and if you don't respond, they essentially rubber stamp and say, okay, the foreclosure is authorized. So if you do want to respond, the instructions for doing so are right there in the notice. It's not something our office is involved in. So if you need help with that, probably calling the courts is the way to go. I believe it's county court. Charlotte or Veronica or Alvin can correct me as it comes time for them. But anyway, you'll have to deal with them directly to make that appointment. And then it's your opportunity to contest the validity of the foreclosure. So basically, if you believe you're being foreclosed on in error, this is where you'll bring that up. And then if they decide that everything's kosher, the foreclosure can go ahead, what they issue is a document called an order authorizing sale. And that does come to our office. So you can always give us a call and ask if we have an order authorizing sale to find out if the Rule 120 hearing has already happened. Next slide, please. The other one I wanted to quickly mention is the lender notice of foreclosure proceedings. This is required by statute, and the statute requires that it be mailed no less than 30 days after your first missed payment and no less than 30 days prior to filing foreclosure with our office. So they have to give that out to you. And basically it just is a notice saying, you know, we're going to start a foreclosure proceeding against you if you can't bring this up to current with us in the next 30 days. Next slide, please. So in summary, the mail our office sends out is designed to explain your rights in foreclosure and keep you informed about the status of your foreclosure. Please do open those documents and read them. And again, see if I can make this work. It's got all of our mail has this seal on it right here. So look for that seal. And if you see it, please open that envelope. The documents our office provides are designed to allow you to exercise your rights during foreclosure. So that's the intent to cure form and the excess funds claim form. And lastly, we're here to help. All of us that you see here on the screen are here to help. So if you have any questions about the foreclosure process or the documents you've received, please reach out to me directly. The next screen will show you my contact information, but also the other people you see on the screen here, they can all provide valuable information to you. So, and they'll give you their contact information as well. So please feel free to reach out to anyone you see here. We'll get you to the right person for sure and help you out as best we can. So I'm with the Denver County Public Trustee. Our number is 720-865-2633. Our email address is foreclosures@denvergov.org. And that's not actually our website, but I believe that's Alvin Tafoya's website right there. So also a good one to have. If you'd like to see our website, we're www.denverclerkandrecorder.org. And I believe that is it. So Charlotte, I believe you're up.
Hi, well, thank you very much, John. Next slide, please. I work for Denver Housing Authority. I am a HUD certified housing counselor, and DHA has a HUD approved counseling agency, and NewSed as well as a HUD approved counseling agency. And we'll let Veronica Acosta brag about herself when she gets up to present after my slide. But we're both HUD approved counseling agencies, and that's important to all of you, because as you are seeking assistance for counseling and guidance, not legal guidance, but guidance, look for a HUD approved housing counseling agency in Denver, and Veronica will bring that list up later. Next slide, please. So John did a wonderful job of discussing the formal documents that are sent out via the public trustee. As he mentioned towards the end, there are documents that get sent out by the lender, also known as a servicer. So I believe one of the first things you asked, John, was about the Rule 120 document. I believe, I can't say 100%, but I do believe it gets sent out by the county court. But I can't say I'm 100% certain on that. So I know that was a question there. So what I would like to do is just kind of address some good core tips for all of you as homeowners. This is a very intimidating process. You're nervous already, you're stressed out. You're not sure what to believe. You know, people are making phone calls to you, people are soliciting you, folks are stopping by the house, sending things in the mail. What do you do? Who do you turn to? When do you respond, and who do you trust? So a few tips to talk about. Always, first and most immediately, when you either are behind on your mortgage or your HOA, or you anticipate imminent default, which means it could be next month because you suspect you'll be out of work or have a hardship, whatever, reach out to your servicer, lender, and speak to them. They may not have a solution for you right away, and that's okay, but at least you're being transparent with them. At least you're saying, hey, this is my hardship today or next month. I want you to be aware, this is how you can reach me. Are there any options at this point, or when should I call back to get that information? So irrelevant of any documentation, you should always make that first phone call to your servicer, because they want to hear from you. And it's important down the road when you're trying to work something out with them, they're going to look back to see, have you been engaged with them? Have you been transparent with them? And all of that engagement is helpful. The lender will see you're really trying to work with them and trying to resolve this. Next tip you should consider is that your servicer, also known as lender, will be sending out notifications like the lender's notice of foreclosure that John just mentioned when you fall delinquent on your mortgage. So like the public trustee's office, those letters will have your lender's logo, contact information, account number. So if you get something in the mail that is not directly from your lender, when you're early on in your delinquency, you might want to be hesitant about responding to it. You might want to just call directly to your servicer and say, I've received this letter. It doesn't have your logo on it. Is this perhaps coming from your company or what? And have the lender help you identify if this is some random solicitation out there. But again, your lender has to send out notifications to you telling you're in default. They're going to include in the information a list of HUD-approved counseling agencies, or the link to HUD.gov, where you can call that number or access that link, go to the state of Colorado and find a HUD-approved counseling agency in your location. And we're particularly addressing the city and county in Denver, which there are 7 HUD-approved agencies you can reference. And again, Veronica will share that list in a little while. Make sure that any notification you receive, you feel confident who it's coming from. And John identified the documentation with their letterhead and their contact information. I'm letting you know your servicer should be sending all these notifications, again, with their contact information, with your loan number, with their logo. There is a very likely chance, if you continue to remain in default on your mortgage, that eventually it will fall into the hands of the servicer's foreclosing attorney. And you are likely to get a letter from the attorney. And so you may not recognize that. Again, call your servicer and ask them to verify, is this your representing attorney? Many of the documents sent by the servicer, as I mentioned, should include either the HUD.gov site that you can go online to, or literally listing out the HUD-approved counseling agencies, either in your designated area or throughout the state. And seeing all this information on these letters should make you feel a little more confident that it's coming from a trusted source, not some third party trying to get some money from you. As you become closer to the foreclosure sale date, and it takes months to get foreclosed on, but as John mentioned early on, there is a sale date, a notification intent of notice of foreclosure that will have the sale date on it. So just for this evening's example, let's say your sale date, today is June 15th. Let's say your sale date is July 30th. As you get closer to that date, you are very likely to receive things in the mail. And many of them are going to look very official. They may have a logo that looks like the Fair Housing logo or a HUD logo. It's going to promise you that they're going to save you and save you from the demons of the world, et cetera, et cetera. Please be careful about these solicitations. They often may come from real estate agents. There are private loss mitigation companies out there that will charge you a fee. There are financial organizations that are going to try and offer to bail you out financially, either by buying the house from you or offering you some very high, costly, expensive financing to get your mortgage current. Please be careful about these solicitations. Don't jump at responding. Don't feel threatened. Don't feel like you have to respond, otherwise you'll lose your home. Reach out to your servicer. If you are already getting letters from the public trustee, as John says, reach out to them. They cannot communicate any legal advice to you. They cannot necessarily advise you on things that are coming in the mail, but can at least clarify if what you're looking at is in fact an authentic document submitted by the public trustee. So if you're really questioning what you're receiving and should you act on it, again, that's what HUD housing counseling agencies provide you, is a consumer advocate position, a safe place, neutral, and we're not to generate any fees from you. HUD funds us to provide free services to you. So we're not interested in your home. We're there to act as your consumer advocate. Thumbs up with Alvin, I appreciate that. So, so please be careful about that. We get calls from our clients that say, oh my gosh, somebody knocked on the door and they said that they're representing Charlotte's mortgage company and they have a right to get in the house. Never do they have a right to come in your house, ever. If they are there on behalf of your servicer, then they should be notifying you. And again, I cannot think of a time why some servicer would send a third party and mandate they come into your home prior to a foreclosure sale. So just know that. And again, I'm not an attorney, but in general, do not feel threatened by that, okay? Your home is your home until after the foreclosure sale occurs. And there's even a little grace period there. So be aware of those notifications. And also finally, be cautious about fees. There are many, and I'm not saying they're wrong, these companies, they have a right to perform business as such, but they will promote their business, soliciting you, saying you will get legal representation. I suspect the majority of them cannot make that statement unless somehow it could be true. But the majority of programs that I have become familiar with over the years are largely ones that have maybe some remote access to legal representation, but their primary service is with an individual similar to a HUD-approved housing counselor. And again, they will be charging you $1,000. I've seen some families, and I'm sure Veronica could attest to this. They are charging, here they are behind in their mortgage, and they have to come up with $1,500 or $2,000 just to get the service started. And just know you have qualified HUD-approved housing counseling agencies that are free to assist you with that. So, so be safe, be smart, know there are resources out there that can assist you and counsel you on this. And Veronica's going to talk about 3 different types of documents that may come to you via the lender. Again, like the public trustee's office, just we'll show it to you just so you can get a little familiar with it. Thank you. And Veronica Costa next with Newset.
Thank you, Charlotte. Well, my name is Veronica Costa, and I work for a new set as a housing counselor, had certificate housing counselor. And I'm gonna talk about these documents. The server gonna send it to you. But John and Charlotte, they already did a very well done explanation of the process. So I just gonna complement what they already says on these documents. And we're gonna talk about the notice of the delinquency, notice of default, and notice of intent to foreclose. So next slide. This is one of the documents that you're gonna receive if you are 30 days or more behind on payments, and they call a notice of delinquency. In this document, you will receive it when you are 30 days more behind. In this notification, you will receive it like 3 times before to receive the next notification of default. And this is gonna be after 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. If you didn't take any action you didn't pay on that, and then you will receive the other notification. On this notification for delinquency is where you're going to receive information about what action you can take. The server going to offer help to you and give you options. And also there is information about where you can call to get extra help with organization like or organization that is a free service and that you don't have to pay any money. And here is some toll-free numbers that where you can call, and some information about your rights that you have before foreclosure. So if you don't pay before 90 days, and then you will receive the next document. So can we go to the next slide, please? This is a notice of default. This notification, you will receive it after 90 days. If you didn't pay and you continue behind on your payments. On this notification, they're gonna provide information, what is your late payments and your arrears with late fees, and that date you need to pay or bring current your mortgage. Also, they're gonna give you this notice that is, this notice doesn't affect you the ability to pay and bring current your mortgage, so you prevent the foreclosure action. But if you continue behind on this after this notification and you failed the payment and you didn't send the payment on the date they put it in this notification, they're gonna provide and the date and that you need to pay and bring current your mortgage. And if you don't send the payment on that time, and then you will receive the intent to foreclose you is the other document. In this case, they combine both on this document because this was very late payments on this one. But in that they're gonna give you the rights that you have. Even though you are in a foreclosure process, you have the rights to pay anytime and bring current your mortgage, and they're gonna suspend the process of the foreclosure. If you have already date for the sell date and also the publication date, if you bring your mortgage current, they're gonna stop everything there. So, and also you have the right to file the bankruptcy, or if you are already in the bankruptcy, and then you don't have to pay attention to this notification because you are already protected for that bankruptcy process. And they put it in the notification if you are in that process, and then it's only notification for you. You don't have to take action with this one. But if you're not in the bankruptcy process, you need to to pay attention on these dates, they put it in there and try to make an arrangements with them. Also, when you are in the process of foreclosure, you have the rights to apply for other options like a loan modification or forbearance or any other option. So you can apply in for that. We can help you as a housing counselors. We can help you to apply for those options. And you can call us and that service is gonna be free. Here in the next slide, you will see all the information for the organization help with that that process, and you will see that we have a bilingual organization like us. Here is our information news set, and our phone number is 303-534-8342, and my extension is 133 in case that you want to contact me. That is my email address also there. But there is other 6 organizations that can help you. So if you need help, please be like Charlotte mentioned it, be smart, be safe, be proactive, answer as soon as possible, or look for help as soon as possible that you notice that you won't be able to make your payment. And we are here to help you. I think that's gonna be it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you go back to the last slide real quick? I just want to point that out. As you can see, we have seven partners, HUD certified counseling agencies that can provide you service for free.
Right.
Free.
Free.
And so reach out to them. We provide this service in multiple languages. I also want to communicate that if you go to the Clerk and Recorder's main page, webpage, we also have this detailed in a 2-pager and a 7-pager. Obviously, the 7-pager is a little bit more detailed. The 2 pages, high level. We communicate definitions and terms. We communicate the timeline of the process so that you can see where you're at. And we also inform you of the HUD certified counselors that you can reach out to and take care of that. I agree with Charlotte. Contact your finance company first thing. But the second thing you do, contact a HUD certified counselor. Work with them. If you have questions, they're going to help you for free. They know what resources are available. The federal government has put a ton of money out to help homeowners who are behind on their mortgage payments. And so between all of us, we'll figure out which fund, federal, state, local fund, private, whoever has the funds to support you. Your HUD certified agent is going to be the one that can help and direct you to apply for those funds. And so please, please, please contact them. Again, I personally get my mail at a PO box and I could lose 20, 30 days easy. I go once a month. And so if you're like me and you have a PO box and you're behind on your mortgage payments, you might want to consider checking your mail a little bit more often because you only have 120 days to get this cured. And you're going to need every one of those days so that we can make sure that, we get you the support you need, the technical assistance. I don't know about you, but looking at those documents, my eyes started hurting just looking at all the information that's on there, honestly. And it's kind of designed that way. I mean, they have to tell you what your rights are and what the laws are. But the reality is sometimes even the best and most educated people, they read those and they still need help. And a lot of it has to do with because you're in a state of stress, financial stress, and you need somebody alongside you to be a second pair of eyes and ears. And ultimately, our goal is to ensure that you stay, live, work, and play in the city and county of Denver. And so that's the whole purpose of what and why we've done these town halls, why we've done the itemized documents that we provide for you. Our goal, like I said, is to help you stay, live, work, and play in Denver. You've paid taxes all these years. And this is the reason why, we have HUD certified counselors. Now, whether you're behind on mortgage, whether you're behind on property taxes, whether you're behind on HOA fees, we can help you. And so keep that in mind. And let's see if we have any other questions that may have popped up in the chat. And just a quick heads up, we will have a bankruptcy town hall on July 13th. If you'd like to listen in on that. We do also plan on developing one more town hall that identifies every option that a homeowner has aside from bankruptcy, so that you can make a clear and decisive decision for yourself and your family to keep your home. Okay, I haven't received any questions. If anybody would like to pop some in there, I do want to remind everybody that June 30th is when the feds have slated to end the moratorium on foreclosures. My recommendation is if you're behind on a payment or two or three, contact a HUD certified counselor now, because I get the sense that all those bankers and attorneys are going to flip a switch come July 1st and start sending out paperwork to start foreclosure processes. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but my guess is though, they have to make a business decision, and from their business decision, they're going to file for foreclosure. And then, you are going to work with our HUD certified counselors and our other partner agencies who have funding to support you so that we can help you. We have a note in here that says, if you have any questions about the documents, call or email the clerk and recorder's office at 720-865-2633 or foreclosures@denvergov.org. Don't be shy. Don't be prideful. Do what you got to do to save your home. I know we're all struggling financially, but the most important thing is the home that you've invested in all those years, and you want to make sure you maintain it and keep it post-COVID. Any final statements from my colleagues out here?
I think we got one question there, Alvin. Did you see the question? They're asking, what should someone do if they got a notice they believe is a fraudulent or
Shady?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a ton of fraud going on right now. When people are under stress, they don't make the best decisions. So they're playing on the fact that, they want you to contact them and have you give them personal information. Don't do that. John Davies is very clear. If it didn't come from their office, question it. And if you want to walk it into their office to verify that it's actually not from them, you can do that as well. You can also contact it or share with your HUD certified counseling agent, and or contact the Office of Financial Empowerment and Protection. And in the Office of Financial Empowerment and Protection, we provide free one-on-one coaching. So we put this all together to ensure that you have the resources not only to keep your home, but so that you can sit down with the financial coach and ensure that your funds, your finances are in order so that you can maintain and keep that home so you don't find yourself in this situation down the road again. But there's plenty of money that the feds have put out. There's no reason why you should lose your home unless you do nothing. And so we don't want you to do nothing. Pick up a phone. Let's work with you. Let's help you. Let's help maintain that asset in your family so that you can pass it on when that time comes. Any other questions?
Alvin, can I just add to that? A good
ahead.
rule of thumb to remember when you're opening this mail and trying to decide if what you're looking at is legitimate is go to the source. So if the document says that it's from the public trustee, call the public trustee and ask if we've sent out a document, or if it's from your lender, call your lender and ask them as well. If it says it's from an attorney representing your lender, you can give them a call as well. They usually list their number in there. But it's best not to rely on the number that's in the document itself. So it's good to just look up if it's the attorney and it's not your lender, you don't have the information right at your fingertips. It's good to look that up online and find the legitimate contact information for that attorney as well.
Awesome, awesome. Charlotte, anything else, or Veronica, are we good?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was mute. And I would like to add, as we speak about opening up mail, do open your mail. I know that all of us have experienced folks coming into our offices and they'll hand over, letters to us unopened. You know, unfortunately, this problem doesn't get fixed or forgotten because you haven't addressed the mail. So please open it, become empowered, be educated, and open the mail. If you just wait because you don't want to address it, or you feel intimidated, or you don't understand it, we all are saying there's resources out there for you. So open your mail. That's the very first step. Very first step. That's what I have to say.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Veronica, anything to share or no?
Yes, I want to mention that we, I think we forgot, well, you mentioned a little bit about that. The other two reasons they can be in foreclosure is HOA fees and also property taxes. Those are the other two reasons they can be in foreclosure. And as soon as they take care of that or take action, is the better. Because if they take action sooner, they're gonna be able to receive more help or be able to get resources from us.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, keep in mind, and I understand people are prioritizing their finances and their obligations. And what we've observed over the last several months is some customers didn't pay their HOA fees because they probably felt like that was the least most important to pay right now. And we've had to go back and help them get all caught up on their HOA fees so that the foreclosure doesn't happen. I don't want to get too deep into this, but HOA fees turns into a super lien. And the super lien, they can close on your property really quick. It's still a process, but HOA fees are super important in the state of Colorado. You have to pay them. If you're just behind on them right now, let us know, because those HOA fees start to stack up. Then they start adding attorney fees and then other fees. And before you know it, it started out as just a couple months behind on your fees. And now you're owing thousands of dollars because they're tacking legal fees on there. And so we want to help you even in that regard, to pay HOA fees, back property taxes, and mortgage payments that you're behind. So we're here to help you. Please reach out to us. We want to help you. We've saved so far 8 homes, 8 families to keep their homes to date. I'm very concerned that come June 30th, when the moratorium is over, that many of you might start receiving letters and documents. But get ahead of the game. Give us a call now, even if you've already missed a payment. And then we can start working with you now. If we don't have any other questions, thank you for spending time with us this evening. If you have families, friends, colleagues who are in this situation, feel free to direct them to the Denver Clerk and Recorder's office so they can see all the documents we've put together in 14 different languages. They can talk to John Davies or one of his staff, and you guys will get directed to one of our housing HUD certified counselors. And then ultimately, we want to meet you at the Office of Financial Empowerment and Protection so that we can help you realign your budgets and move forward. And so with that being said, I want to thank you and say good evening and stay cool, Colorado, because it's hot out there.
Amen.
It is.
All those points.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.